So today we're joined by someone really special to me. Unfortunately, because of the lockdown, we can't be in the same place. So here she is. Please introduce yourself.
Hi there, I'm Joelle
Hello.
Tolentino. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So
No,
today
thanks
we're
for
gonna.
having me.
Oh yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you just said that.
Today we're gonna be talking about your new EP, New State of Mind and Liberties.
hmm
I I'm aware it was released at Spotify on the Feb 1, 2021.
Yes.
And tell
Well,
us where else we can find it.
I actually didn't upload. I mean, I uploaded it on the 1st of February, but it didn't actually come out to the public until like the 4th because it takes time to process, and I couldn't afford to do the whole schedule it on a specific date. But yeah, you can also find it on iTunes, Apple Music. I think Instagram. My students were telling me they found it on Instagram and some other platforms that I'm not very familiar with, but those are the ones that stand out, sorry.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. So, for people who haven't listened to the album or EP yet, can you tell us what it's about? A little bit about it.
Well, essentially it's a love story. I would
Mm.
say it's a love story. But it's quite difficult because each song is told through different perspective, and actually focuses on the first one, Delilah, is on one individual, while the second song, Strangers, focuses on two individuals, while the third one kind of focuses on many people. So, but I think it's pretty obvious to say that the whole album wouldn't have happened if it weren't for the pandemic. So yeah,
Mm.
it's,
That's
I guess, yeah, it's about yeah, I guess, yeah, the underlying thing would be a love story.
it's great you mentioned that, like, why it wouldn't have happened because of the pandemic, because I was just about to ask you what else inspired you to create the EP?
Um, my desire to travel, especially to travel to New York, which is
Mm.
probably the first place I'd want to go to if I were allowed, if the borders opened.
Mm. Nice. So, can you talk a little bit more about the process of you creating the whole EP? Because I think it's such a beautiful, like group of songs. How did you create this EP?
Oh, thank you for thinking that. Well, at first I thought I want to make a New York inspired album, and I was like, what songs already exist that are about New York, right? And there are so many. So
Mm.
I, before I even wrote any songs, I had a playlist called New York Inspo, or
Mm.
NY Inspo, and what were in that playlist were Empire State of Mind, yeah,
Yeah.
by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys.
Classic.
The Hey There Delilah,
Mm-hmm.
and New York State of Mind, and also by Billy Joel,
Mm-hmm.
and Hey There Delilah is by Plain White Tees, and what was the other one? Taylor Swift's Welcome to New York. And I would go everywhere in my car and just play that whole playlist of 4 songs over and over again and get inspired by it. And the first thought I wanted to do was, okay, I want to write a song called Delilah, about Delilah again, right? But because in Hey There Delilah, we know, oh, it's a long distance relationship. He's or they are 1,000 miles away from Delilah,
Mm.
and they're writing about Delilah, what they're going to say to Delilah. But then we never really truly find out about who Delilah is. So I wanted to explore that.
Yeah.
So that's what I did in that song. Sorry, I think I've gone into a tangent. What was the question initially?
The question was the process.
Oh, the process. Yeah. Anyway, that was the initial process, right? Like just getting inspired. And then I knew, yeah, I'm going to write a song called Delilah. And so I actually thought of the titles first before I wrote them.
Mm,
And I wrote Delilah mid of December. And I didn't finish it until after 2 days because I hated it for a while until I played it to my sister. And then she was like very supportive. She said, no, just keep going. It's not that bad.
yeah,
And
I
then
remember
yeah. And then I thought, ooh, I want to explore this theme of long distance relationship even more because it must be so difficult, especially during a pandemic, right? To sustain a long distance relationship because not only are you far away, there is no way for you guys to physically meet.
that.
So I thought of this concept of strangers, right? Where you might have never met in person, but somehow you're connected through this virtual world that's become really important now that you can't really physically meet up with people. So that's the concept of strangers. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to write a song called Strangers, but didn't really have anything else beyond that. And then I thought, oh, I should also write a song called Open Borders because everyone's talking about how we should open the borders, or I wish the borders were open, but the reality is we can't given the
Mm.
pandemic situation. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna write those songs: Delilah, Open Borders, and Strangers. And somehow I was feeling the juices that I wrote Strangers in one day on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, I wrote Open Borders. And then I thought, great, because I wanted to get all the writing done by the end of December so that I could use January to record because um, I would go into my to continue my studies again and go back to work teaching. So I thought I needed to get this done by the end of late January, the whole thing, and then release it in February, which
You did.
somehow, yeah, somehow we got there. And that was the process. In terms of recording it, it was just me in my room with my little wee recording equipment. And thanks to my brother, he for Christmas he got me a MIDI keyboard, which really truly helped with recording the instrumentals.
Mm.
And thank you to my sister, you again. I was able to use the platform um, Logic Pro to kind of process everything and stuff. But yeah, so that's the process, and that was supposed to be a brief summary.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the process with us. It's really good for us to hear. Since we have a bit more time, I remember you trying to get me to do the track covers for you, and I refused because
Uh-huh.
it's your album. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna share my screen and show the track covers. So that's
Oh gosh.
Delilah's one,
Yeah.
and then we go into Strangers,
Mm-hmm.
and then Open Borders.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about these track covers? Like what's the concept behind it? We have this, we can tell it's like a sepia filter and we have people. So can you talk a bit about that?
Oh, that's a really great question. First of all, I'd love to thank the people who took photos of these. I retrieved them from an open website where you could just take without uh, having to worry about copyright issues. But in saying that, I wanted to credit the people who took photos of these. However, I couldn't quite link the artist to each photo, but because they didn't really have names.
Mm.
But I'll look into that again so that I can fully credit them later on. But to talk about the covers, it started with actually the EP cover that inspired all of these three. So if we can go on to that, please, if that's okay. This one, yeah. I knew, like, obviously, I wanted to make a New York inspired album, right? And I knew that the Statue of Liberty had to be the cover. I just didn't know in what perspective. And then I saw this. As soon as I searched up Statue of Liberty, I thought this is perfect because you're looking up at it. And even though it's pretty obvious it's the Statue of Liberty, it's still kind of, you can't see it, right? It's not its full form. But then there's like optimism in the fact that you're looking up at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted that to encapsulate what the album is all about having that new state of mind and feeling that sense of liberty or freedom upon losing love and gaining love. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the initial thing. And then I thought, okay, I can't draw, so I'm not going to draw each cover photo for each song. So I would just look into other photos. And then I saw, oh, I want Delilah to just be that one person, right? And I wanted it to be and then I just searched up, I don't know what I searched up, like random girl in adventure or something, but I saw this and then I thought perfect because it's like she's in a forest and there's a personal thing that goes with that, where a girl is in an enchanted forest, if you could say that. And it's like she's in her own adventure, she's cool on her own, and she's just this being, right? And I thought that was beautiful. You can't see her, so there's still that sense of, you can't see her face, so there's still that sense of animosity and anonymity. I can't even say that word.
And mystery, maybe.
Yeah, mystery. Yet there's enough for you to kind of make your own conclusions about it, if that makes sense. Yeah, and I wanted it to still be a bit bluish because this song isn't entirely a happy song. It's kind of longing, right? You're longing for a Delilah, but but ultimately she's not there. So yeah, that's why the background is blue.
Cool. We'll move on to Strangers.
This place is actually in New York. I wanted to search up places in New York because I wanted all of the cover photos to be New York, perhaps except for Delilah. But this one, I'm so sorry, I can't even name the place anymore. But here I wanted this to now, as I said earlier, focus from that one person to now the two people that we're talking about in Strangers, right? We don't know who they are, but we can see that there are two people there while everyone else is doing their own thing. But clearly, from the fact that they're in close proximity to each other, already tells you that there is some type of relationship there. And the strongest color is red because I wanted it to represent love, love shared between two strangers, if you will.
Open borders?
And then again, going back to that point that it goes from one person in Delilah to two people in Strangers, Open Borders talks about many people and how their stories, how their lives have been impacted or have been changed by the pandemic. So here there's a bridge. This is actually also in New York. And I thought, oh, that's a very interesting like symbolism to use, right? There's like the bridge you're trying to get over because people are trying to get over this pandemic. We're still trying. But yeah, so I wanted it to also show that there was this time in the world where everyone could be in that place like that, crowded.
No masks.
Yeah, no masks, and that was normal. So yeah, because everything was open. So I guess, yeah, that was the inspiration of my covers.
That's beautiful.
I'm probably forgetting so many other things about it, but that's just what came up right now.
Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your, I guess, your baby, like you worked so hard on it all this time. So, and yeah, how was it? How did it feel releasing it to, the public, the people who are
My
just your
friends.
siblings?
You pretty much. It felt really great. I felt the liberty part of it.
In your state of minded liberties.
Yeah, because at first I hated it. I'd finished it halfway through January, and I kept listening to it and I really hated it. And as you remember, I kept getting annoyed, like, oh, I have to redo these vocals again, but I'm tired. And also, I really need to finish this because I have to focus on my actual studies.
Mm.
But also, I really wanted to finish it. So I hated it for a while, but then somehow, a few days before I was set to release it, I finally appreciated it for what it was. And only then did I know that I could release it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. But yeah, so it felt great to finally have it out there. And in saying that, I also wanted to thank the people who listened to it, even if it were only for 1 second of the song, because that's the whole reason why I um, uploaded it, so that people could listen to it. So thank you.
And why is it important that people, listen to the song, and why now? Why is it important?
Why? Well, I guess it's always important for people to listen to songs, because I mean, personally, me listening to songs is one of the ways that I cope with stresses and anxieties. So I would have hoped that someone out there could listen to these songs and resonate with them and use it as their comfort. So I guess that's always important.
Yeah, thank you for that, because it definitely gave me comfort every time I listen
Oh,
to it.
thank you. It
And,
made you fall asleep.
every time you come into my room blasting, help me make sense of this.
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe I could do that sometime soon after this pandemic or something. Oops. Uh, 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 uh,
Oh, what
uh,
what's happening? I think we're losing Janelle. Uh, must be the connection. Um, hello. Hmm. Weird. Janelle, are you still there? Oh, I just heard a knock on the door. What the heck? Hello? Help me make sense of this. Say different times. Tell me how she could have held her. Too soon to hide a climb. Tell me how to love a stranger. They didn't have to get figured out. Definitely to the devil never went out. So sure, so dumb. Staying up late like I didn't have school. Playing with fate like it couldn't be cruel. Lose it all in the song. As they make a million promises and break everyone with them until they lose all that matters. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Yeah.